Hey everybody, it's good to see you all again. This segment is just to kind of let you guys know what is going on in this episode. So, in this episode, there is a situation. Towards the end, or anywhere in this episode, there is a blank. That means there's no sound coming in the episode, and you might think that is your fault. That is my fault. You can blame me, say it was my fault, because that is an editing problem, and that's because of recording and the recording platform that I use. If that happens to be in the episode, if that's in it, what you need to do is to just disregard it. Don't worry about it. Consider it like an ad break. Consider it like a break. Consider it like we're taking a 5 minute break. Consider it like that. So, no freaking out. No need to worry. Make sure you guys enjoy the episode, enjoy what's in it, and y'all have a good one. And enjoy this one. Really enjoy it and have fun. And please disregard the blanks in there. Consider them breaks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and thank you guys for understanding and for your cooperation. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Before we get into the podcast interview session, I'd like to open this opportunity to engage you in a little something. A fan sent in a voice message. We get voice messages sometimes, and I'd like to allow you guys to listen in on this. It's only a few seconds of your time before we dive into this to the interview session. Thank you guys so much for your time, and thank you guys so much for tuning in every weekend. If you're brand new, I hope you guys enjoy it, and hope you guys enjoy this short little message. And thank you guys, and enjoy. See you guys soon.
Hey, little man, why you telling me? Yeah, I'ma get you in the end, and I'ma put you in the stead. Hey, my little girl, she wanna tell me I'm a world. Hey, when I tell you I'm born to be out. Hey, yeah.
Hey everybody, we're back here on the podcast today with my co-host Jack and a huge artist today, Wordsmith. So happy to meet you. Say it to the world.
What up, what up, what up? Thanks for having me today.
No problem, no problem.
It's
Excited
nice
to
having
meet
you.
you.
So, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience before we get into our line of questioning, like what type of music you make, or just anything you want to tell them information-wise about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I consider myself, I kind of dubbed it myself conscious commercial hip hop is what I make. Hip hop you can bob your head to, but also stimulate your mind. And I actually, for the first time in my career, kind of stepped out of the hip hop lane as far as releasing albums. And I released my first jazz project with a good friend of mine who's a composer out of Nashville named Corey Cardell. So we just dropped a project called Progressions on May 21st. So go check it out when you get an opportunity. It's definitely a big different and a big change from any music you may have heard from me, or those who are listening today who's going to discover my music. It's a big change, but the most thing I'll say about it is it's good music, but more importantly, it's important music that we need in this time. So just check it out.
Okay, that's nice. That's actually very interesting
Awesome.
because like a lot of people can go their whole career just going with the same style of music and never change anything. And people can go through their entire career like experimenting as much as they want throughout start to finish. And so what inspired you to go for a new direction on this current project?
It's kind of crazy, actually, man, because besides hip hop, I got a classical background. I actually have a position with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra out here in Baltimore City in my hometown. And I have a great love for jazz music as well, man. And I just happened to be booked for this. It was a July 4th concert, probably about 2.5 years ago now. And I was on this country bill with this big country artist named Justin Moore.
Yeah.
And again, I'm out here doing my hip hop, you know what I mean? And I don't know, the crowd took to it. And when I was done with the show, and after Justin Moore performed, his piano player, his keyboard player, Corey, who I did the project with, man, he sought me out and he just like, man, I loved your music. I loved your set. I love what your songs are about. And he said, you know, do you want to hang for a little bit? So we hung on a tour bus. We talked. We found out we had a lot of things in common, which was we want to make music that makes an impact on other people. We want to make relatable blue collar music. And we wanted to make music in real time, meaning talking about topics and conversations that are going on in society right now, the hard conversations. So
Yeah.
that's what kind of drove it in that lane. He's more of a composer. Even though hip hop's my base, I'm a songwriter. I mean, I would say most of my income comes from writing for TV, films, and games. So through and through, I'm a songwriter over, being a rapper, to be honest.
That's very interesting. It also reminds me a lot about conversations about how rappers don't usually make a lot of money off of their music. Like alone, they usually get it off of like merch, like doing deals, sponsorships, and that type of shit. Like that's a
No
very
doubt.
that kind of reminds me of that what you said at the end there. But musically, do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
Oh yeah. I kind of wanted to go back in time a little bit with you, Wordsmith, to the start of your music career. Like, how did all that start for your music career?
Well, I didn't start music as soon as I should have, which is, that's on me and that's my bad. I didn't really trust the
Yeah.
process. I was just really big into sports growing up. I got a chance to get a college scholarship to Morgan State, and I thought professional sports was my thing. And I ended up tearing my knee up pretty bad in college. Didn't have a plan B at all, but I had this untapped talent, as far as writing music and also in theater as well. And so when that happened with as far as tearing up my knee, it put me in that crossroads where I had to make a decision of, what do I really want to do in life? What type of legacy do I want to have? I started thinking about those things. And music is what I chose. I felt music was the best way for me to, like I said, impact a lot of people at one time. It's given me such a great opportunity to travel the world, as well. I've been to 11 different countries in the past 4 years. So I've really been able to not just use my music to be successful in my own right, but just create so many other opportunities for other people. I mean, I've taken so many musicians that may have never even been out of Baltimore City and taken them to Africa, or taking them to Lithuania, or taking them to Azerbaijan, to just different parts of the world so they can get a better perspective, on life.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Just a lot of different things can happen. You think you have your mind set on one thing, but whatever like chain of events happens can probably lead you to something that you're even more like natural in and what you enjoy doing more. Because I can speak personally. I used to think a lot of times that I was going to do something related to film, and even though I still have an interest in it, it's not as big as it used to be. Anything related to film I wanted to get into at one point, like writing films. I wanted to direct them. I wanted to act in them, although I don't consider myself much of an actor. And then I wanted to review films and do other stuff like that. I just used to be very big into movies. And then as time went on, I started growing when I'd like to say when I was 11, I started getting more into music. And I used to actually hate rap before before I started listening. I used to actually hate rap. I
Okay.
used to be a snob about that type of shit. And even though I do still like the music I listened to before I liked rap, I just love expanding my music taste to whatever I think sounds good. I used to listen to
Man,
Glenn
that's
Miller,
honest.
Frank Sinatra, just a lot of old jazz music, like big band music as well, and also expanded it to the Beatles, the Kinks, the Animals, and Rolling Stones, shit like that, and then expanded to a lot of other acts as well, and then I eventually got into rap, and that's what I've been doing for about 3 years since I was 11, 14 now.
Okay. Well, one, thanks for sharing that. You know what I mean? And being transparent and honest. And I like your musical journey too, because you got the good base of music before you went to hip hop. You know what I mean? So you have a great appreciation for music before you even went to that genre of music, man. So thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah, definitely. It's always like it always pays off to expand your musical taste because whatever like your musical taste expands to, you can incorporate that into like the rap you make, like the rap music you make. And I don't just rap, I produce beats as well. So all the other sounds that I'm interested in, I want to try out at one point. I want to learn how to play instruments and I want to learn how to do that type of shit as well.
Good, man. And yeah, I'm glad you said that because, I play electric guitar and I think it's important, even if you're a songwriter first, you should always learn how to play at least one instrument. It will help enhance your music so much and just your understanding of music. And it puts you in a space where you can work in a lot of different genres. I'm able to jump into jazz and the classical because of my high understanding of music. If you don't know me, you probably just say, okay, well, he's a hip hop guy, but I know music, and I know how to write songs. And all these things make you money. You know what I mean? So the more you really can be a rounded musician and not looking to, I would say, the perspective of, hey, I want to be, everybody should shoot for being a big artist. I mean, but that's kind of the cherry on top. For a select few, do you get real big? So you really got to have the mind frame, how else can I make money? And part of that is making yourself a well-rounded artist where you're wanted and you can be hired and you can be used. And people, I would say, especially in the corporate field, which is my biggest thing, I have some of the biggest companies I have relationships, with, from ESPN to Netflix to Fox to, a lot of stations where they come to me to get the same quality of music that they would get from a major label artist where they got to pay $1 million plus for a song. They can come to me and pay me a couple thousand and get the same quality. So
Yeah,
my
definitely.
whole thing was always, so I can take care of my kids and myself off my music. And, I definitely have made it and I'm good and I can start providing opportunities to others. So, you being a young cat, that's one thing I would tell you, shoot for the stars, but also realize too that you've made it once you're able to take any and all money that you make off of your craft of music and you can support yourself with it.
Definitely. I've always said that I think the point where I reached, the point where I would consider myself to be like successful in terms of like making music is where I'd be able to live off of like the music that I make in one way or another, like either
Correct.
indirectly or directly. I think living comfortably off of music, doing something I love just constantly, that's probably one of my biggest dreams. And second to that is probably if I can't live solely off of music, I do have a second job idea, which is a chef.
Dope, dope, dope. Love it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
yeah. I always, for a long time, like since I was, I've always thought of Plan Bs and Plan Cs and Plan Ds. Like, if I can't do this, what if I do this? If I can't do that, what if I do this? Just a lot of like planning because one thing I hate is like regret. I fear like failure, just not taking my shot and doing something I want to do.
Well, man, you think the right way, man. Just to be honest, there's adults that don't have that mind frame. I mean, I'll be honest. Think about the short story I told you. I had a one-track mind, tunnel vision with sports. And so for you to be 14 and realize and recognize that you need to have, I wouldn't say them plans A, B, C's, and D's. Everything is plan A, but just realize don't put everything in that one basket. Let me give my all to this. Let me try this as well. You really don't know what your gift is going to be in unless you try a bunch of different things, so you got the right mind frame for it, man. I applaud you for it.
You put all of your energy into one thing. Once that thing either like you can't do that thing, or if it like disappears just when that thing isn't around, what do you have left around you? It's like
Yeah, sure.
if you put a lot of your time into like either one thing, I can give an example. I used to put like almost all of my time into making music like nothing else, like ignoring all other aspects, and then like noticed my grades like were dropping considerably, didn't have that much of a social life and that type of shit. I was like shut off for a long time. I learned to diversify my time in between certain things, and now been doing better than ever. Just diversifying a lot of aspects in life, because being a one-trick pony can, if you're good at what you do and you're successful at what you do, it can be good, but if you're not, then it's pretty much just a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, well said.
So, I was going to ask a question. This is a question I usually ask a lot of people, and the question is, if if you were to give advice to people like who are younger than you, what would that advice be? But I think in this conversation, we already kind of went over that. So I think I'll go on to another question. And you said earlier that you wanted to do sports until you wanted to do music. But if you weren't doing music now, like excluding sports, what would you be doing?
I would say definitely a lot of community engagement, which I'm doing now as well. I have a nonprofit called Rise with a Purpose, and I'm fundraising right now to put a permanent music school in my city. So if I wasn't doing music and I didn't have that part, would I miss it? Yeah. But what I've found through my music is that it's just here to create that community engagement. It's here to allow me and put me in a position where I can help others. That's my main deal for doing music. It's not going to be yours. It's not going to be the next person's, but that's my particular path in this music game, and that's what I learned about my whole reasons for creating music. So I know eventually, I'm not going to be doing music and putting music out like I do now, but again, my end game, I'm already in the middle of it, so I'm just trying to see it out.
Yeah, definitely. Musically, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask?
Sure. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. So what inspired you to really get into music? Do you have any one in particular, or just life itself?
I loved hip hop, growing up. I loved the culture of it, from how they dressed, how MCs wore their hair, the kicks, the jewelry, the whole lifestyle. I loved it. And I'm 41, so we talking about I was around when hip hop was just getting popping and started. And, during that time, everything was on a cassette tape. And every Tuesday, I knew new music would come out. Now it's Fridays in this day and time, but it used to be Tuesdays back in the day. And I'm talking about I would be the cat outside of the music store before it even opened, just to buy certain tapes. And some of my favorite artists back in the day was A Tribe Called Quest, Redman, EPMD, Das Effects, Run DMC. It's important, and I would tell all of you, I'm sure all of you are big hip hop fans, you got to know the pioneers to understand where we at now and why some people in the game have issue to how hip hop sounds right now and how it's kind of stagnant. Hip hop was built on storytelling. It was built on community. It was built on coming together for a common cause. And a lot of hip hop today doesn't really represent any of those at all. And so what I would encourage any of you, even if you're not feeling all the music, understand why it got started. Understand some of the main pioneer artists who went through the struggle. So the artists now who are making millions of dollars is no different than sports. Everybody that came before these guys right now were the ones that were paving the path, making nickels and dimes, getting screwed by the labels. They don't have what a lot of the artists have now. And so that's probably one of the things that bothers me about this day and age, is meeting a young cat and he doesn't even know who Big Daddy Kane is. You know what I mean? Are you crazy? If you don't know, you need to know. And that's just what it is. If you hear older cat bring up a name and you don't know, he says, yo, have you heard Paid in Full by Rakim? And if you can't answer yeah, then that night you need to go listen to Rakim. He's one of our pioneers and our godfathers of hip hop. And so if there's one thing I can tell any of y'all, if you haven't been listening to the pioneers, start listening to them, because the next generation after y'all is going to need to know who they are. And just like the artists that are hot now, they're either going to have a legacy or they're not. But one day you're going to be the keepers of telling that legacy to the next generation. So that's why you'll see older cats like myself, we pay homage and we make sure that we teach and tell others that, no, hold up real quick. This is where this started. Nah, this was the first artist that did this. Nah, this was the first artist that had a hip hop single on the Billboard. It's common now, but it wasn't common back in the day. And so my love for it came from, like I said, community. And I think that's why the artist I've been able to kind of last through the years, never become a huge artist, but I have a great fan base. Like I said, I've gotten to see the world. And I've learned through the years that, and I've never lost, that hip hop is about community. As you see, hip hop's in every pretty much country around the world. So I just try to keep that alive in my music. I try to keep it relatable to the blue collar people of this world, which is everyday people. And I just try to keep it true to what I'm about.
Wow.
Definitely. I think it's like me myself, just who used to be in the crowd of people who hated modern rap for no reason, like just like for no reason. Actually, I just hated it because a lot of people hated it. I used to listen to a lot of like older rap as well, and I think I definitely agree with what you say when when you say it's important to know like the pioneers and how it started, because I just love learning about like how certain things that are prevalent now, how they started. A good example of this that I saw through a couple videos and examples is do you know the Migos?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So their flow, I heard a lot of rappers from the 90s who had a very similar flow, like a lot of Memphis rappers. I think I heard a couple rappers from around Ohio,
Correct.
like, Cleveland, just a lot of like Memphis rappers who had similar flows as well in the 90s, who were rapping over completely different types of beats, but kind of had a similar flow if you listen to it and counted the syllables, just flowing in a very similar way. And if you're wondering what song, Versace, if you've heard that one, that's the
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that's the kind of flow that I'm talking about.
There's a group called 8 Ball and MJG. Look them up later on, and that's kind of where you'll get that flow that you're talking about from. And they're a 90s, 2000s group, 8 Ball and MJG. They kind of still around, but they kind of birthed that flow. But even with Migos, which is an interesting point, a lot of artists, now copy their flow. You know what I mean? And that's what's kind of funny is that's totally not hip hop. You know what I mean? Hip hop, someone could have a dope flow and put out a dope record, have a dope verse. And it's competition. You trying to make a doper verse and a doper record. It ain't about copying anybody. And that's something that's very different in this game today. Today, people will hear a record and go, oh, that's hot. Let me do something just like it. That's not hip hop, man. That's not the game at all. Trust me.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are like super fans of one artist only, and they do their hardest, like they try their hardest to imitate that one artist's like entire style. And then I just have conversations with these people asking, why do you want to like imitate this one artist's style so much? It's for many different reasons. Some people see them as role models. Some people just enjoy their music only and no one else's. Just, I think it also like bleeds back into the conversation of diversifying like the type of stuff you do, but except of opportunities, just change it to music, and it's kind of a similar concept.
Yeah, I definitely
I know
agree.
way too many Eminem fans who are just. I know way too many Eminem fans rapping over my name. It's just, hi, my name. Just that everybody.
Yeah.
I know like 5 people off the top of my head who literally would switch bodies with Eminem if they had the chance. But yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, it's not an issue looking up to an artist. You know what I mean? And it's not an issue taking pieces from an artist that are positive. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about being yourself, man. It's all about being comfortable in your own skin and doing your own thing. And yeah, there's definitely artists in this generation that do their own thing, and they stand out from the rest of the pack. those are going to be the artists that will have a legacy 10 years from now, like the J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamar's. They will have legacies 10, 20 years from now because of the type of music that they make. It's current, but there's so many messages embedded in their music, and it's so timely. And then you have other artists who they just have dope records for that period of time and moment in life, but those records won't play 10 years from now. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what you got to decide, is if you want the fast food money or do you want the legacy?
I think there are very few artists today who can strike the balance between commercially. Did I say the word right? Sorry, it's just I'm kind of tired right now. Commercially successful and also like very artistic, like Kendrick, Cole, and a lot of other artists, like Earl Sweatshirt at one point also walked that line, and there's a lot of other artists as well that I can name, but there's very few, at least in the whole sea of rappers, who are commercially successful. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the word. But,
oh, you good, man.
Yeah, commercially successful, but also like very artistic in their music and the way they express themselves, and many other ways. I also think a good example is Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah, he's come a ways, man. Yeah. I really like how he's evolved in his career. I'm glad you brought him up. I'll be real, I didn't like his early stuff, but as he's evolved and he's really shown his how much musical talent he has, he shined, man. And so I love, I would say probably dating back to his past 2 albums, I really loved how creative they were. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's about evolving too, man. I might not like an artist in the beginning, and I'm an artist, of course, so everybody not gonna like what you put out, but it's about evolving as well. You go listen to my catalog, you'll see how I evolved over time as a musician. And that's what you want, man. People get tired if it's the same thing every time you drop a single, every time you drop an album. I mean, you have a lifespan, when you do that.
Yeah. A lot of people just try and catch lightning. A lot of people try and catch lightning in a bottle, or like have lightning strike twice in the same place. Just a lot of people try and rehash and redo just a lot of things over and over until it's not profitable anymore. But I think that can work if you want to be like successful for a short period of time. But sorry if there was background noise.
Yeah, that's the decision you got to make.
But yeah.
Musically, is there any questions you'd like to ask that you haven't already?
Yeah, I got a few more but you. But the conversation has been very good so far. I actually want to go a little bit deeper into your music since you answer a lot of general questions. So I wanted to ask in your own words, how do you exactly, write your music? Like, what's your method of writing music and developing your songs?
Yeah. Well, I would say early on in my career, I wrote everything down. I was quick to have a pen and a pad and really structure out a whole song front to back. And as I moved on in my career, and just because of my personal life, raising 2 kids, I was working 12-hour shifts, commuting to DC at this time, and just juggling a lot in life. Can't always grab that pen and paper. So I started more creating my music organically. I would literally just put my verses together in my head 4 bars at a time until I had my full verse, and I knew it cleanly. Hooks and bridges, I would either create those organically, or I would just make them up on the spot when I would be, recording. The reason why I like organic method mixed with maybe some written is it gave me more flexibility, I would say, mentally. Early on, when I would write everything down, it was almost constrictive of, I'm going to keep it this way because it's the way I wrote it. If I only have bits and pieces, it's more of a creative process when I'm in the studio to bring a song together. But also, too, just working in the licensing field and having to write full songs in 2 to 3 days for TV shows, radio jingles and different things like that. You really have to be quick with it. You really have to write music at a high level and fast. And so just over the years, I learned how to take a concept, whether it's a concept of my own, whether it's something I've seen, whether it's something I experienced, and put it into music format, to the point where someone can give me a topic, give me an idea, and I can turn that into a song, very quickly. So I work more organically now than I ever have and ever did, but it was a natural progression. I'm not on any crazy level with it, but I definitely don't put everything down on paper anymore and don't feel the need to. I just love the organic process.
Yeah, I definitely get that. There's a lot of rappers I've heard about their creative process just being thinking of what they want to say and then saying it. Like Lil Wayne, love him or hate him, like very impactful. Said in one song he hasn't written a verse down since like 2002. So.
Oh, I believe that. And I love Wayne, man. I love Wayne, man. I don't think he's an underrated lyricist, but I think because he's a Southern artist for some reason, Southern artists who are really dope on the mic just kind of, they're not looked at as dope lyricists. Like I can go back to even Ludacris back in the day. Ludacris was very, very dope on the mic, but he's not really talked about as being a dope MC, today when you talk about dope MCs, but you go back and listen to Ludacris stuff. He was crazy with the metaphors, a great songwriter, knew how to structure songs for radio as a hip hop artist, so Southern artists, Outkast, Big Boy, you know what I mean? Andre 3000, dope lyricists, so there are some Southern artists, I would say Big Crit as well, dope lyricists, but not always getting that props as being a dope lyricist. I think just because most Southern artists are not known for being dope lyricists, they more just get you partying and get you moving.
Yeah, definitely. I think also like speaking of like the method of just thinking about what you want to say before you say it, not writing it down. I think Jay-Z also practices this method.
Yeah, he's been doing that. I think he's at some type of Super Saiyan level with it. I'm not there though.
Yeah, definitely.
He on another level with it. But I've been able to, I would say, master somewhat of that ability. But it's not something that I was able to do within a year or two. I would say by year 4 or 5 of being in the industry heavy, it was a must. You know what I mean? So, I constantly practice even to today. I work on so much music because I get hired to do so much stuff. But even if I have a small lapse where I don't have work, I'm working on my craft. So that's always important.
Yeah. Okay. One thing I wanted to ask, you can answer this in whatever way you want. What inspires you the most, or who inspires you the most in your music, like in the style of music you make? Like any artist that you get inspiration from, or any artist or people that inspire you to do music, like in the past or now?
I would say in the past, probably Public Enemy. They opened my eyes to so much of the world, I would say, of what's going on, especially with the oppression of Black people in America. And really teaching Black history, man, as well, which I wasn't getting in school. And a lot of kids still don't get in school. And so for them to have music that was protesting a lot, but I was able to hear it on the radio, I said, man, that's powerful right there. They're up here telling the truth, something that's been oppressed, and it's on the radio. And so they really inspired me, I would say, to be the type of artist I am, where still having that conscious mind, even if I'm writing something that's commercial or writing something catchy, all my music has to have a point. I can't write throwaway music. I don't even know what that is. I just know how to write off a concept or an experience or even a story someone else told me. I can put that into a song, so Public Enemy, that's what they did their whole career. And even to this day, they put out a new album, I believe, last year. And there's their first album in almost 10 years. You know what I mean? And it was accepted in this generation, which surprised me. You know what I mean? Because again, they're not going out here talking about being in the club or sitting on top of no dope rides, jewelry hanging everywhere. They're in your face talking about racial injustice, which, with hip hop in this day and age, I'll be real, I thought more hip hop artists would step up. Some did. I seen like Lil Baby step out there and speak on it. which was big because he's one of the biggest hip hop artists out right now, whether you like him or not, or listen to the music. He has a voice. And so I was proud of him for being a young Black artist and hip hop artist and going, yo, let me take a moment and speak on the Black community, speak on what's going on with racial injustice in this country. And that's the stuff I applaud is do your thing. I may never listen to your music, but I'll respect you. Even going back to this time where you stepped out of your normal, I would say, even say comfort zone to be real and speak truth. I do that music all the time, so it's nothing for me. But for the artists that are normally just doing music about the same stuff all the time, and this is not me knocking Lil Baby because he's pretty dope. But what I'm saying is a lot of his music is about the same thing. For him to step out and be, hey, I'm gonna talk to the youth, I'm gonna talk to the world, and I'm gonna use my voice in a very positive way. I applauded that brother, man. That's how you do it.
Yes, sir.
No, I get that a lot. One artist that I think is one of my favorite artists that have a new generation style. Like one of my favorite new artists that doesn't like take inspiration a lot from like older artists like that isn't like Kendrick or Cole, like Polo G. Polo G is
He's surprising me, man. The young cat, yeah. I gave it a chance to listen to the young kid, and he surprised me. One, he can actually spit, you know what I mean? But he's versatile with the melodies as well. And not on a Drake level, he's got his own style and format with it. You know what I mean? So I feel you with that.
Yeah. I think wait a second, am I lagging?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Polo G, I didn't listen to him a lot, like until he released that one Tupac remix where it was kind of like also like Lil Baby as well, where he stepped out of his comfort zone, talked about Black oppression. I didn't like start paying attention to him a lot until that song dropped, and then I've just been checking out everything new he's been releasing ever since. Like very, very promising. I see a lot of potential in what he has to offer for the future as well as now.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I think we both kind of gave him a chance at the same time. Just being honest, when he did it was the hit 'em up freestyle. He did I think 3 different freestyles in a video, and one of them was the Tupac hit 'em up. And again, that's what surprised me is I said, okay, whoa, it's a young kid right here, and he's spitting truth. He realizes what's going on in America, and he's stepping out of his lane and being bold. So that's all I think us older cats, that's all we looking for. Do your music. The same way when we was coming out, we wanted to do our music. No holds barred, no one to tell us nothing. But you also got to know when to unify and come together because you have such a big voice in hip hop, you know, and you got to use that voice for positive things when those moments come, you know. So I can applaud the young cats when they do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think there's definitely two ways of thinking when it comes to like famous artists, like rappers who care too much about how their music's going to sound to everybody else, artists who do what they want to do, like no matter whether it's like successful or not. And a lot of artists like that, like Earl Sweatshirt, and a lot of people you may not know, like Mavi. There's also Mike. There's a lot of other artists that are in a similar lane of like making the music they wanted to make. So I can like heavily respect that mindset, you know. And
Yeah, good
although
point.
like it is important, like if you want to get like commercially successful, you have to make music that does sound good. I think caring too much about what people want to hear rather than what you want to make can be a lot of people's downfalls.
It's a dilemma, man. I mean, just being honest, you know, I even know with my career, I know if I didn't choose the path of music I made, which is message driven, you know what I mean, and more on talking about politics, positivity, you know, impact. I know I could be a bigger artist, but again, that's not what I was in it for. You know, I knew why I was getting in the game. And that's something that any artist, I don't care what genre you do, you got to know why you're doing music. Just don't be doing it because you have the talent. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? A lot of people have talent to do music, but when it comes down to why are you doing it? Like, what is your reason to put music out? If it's just for your own personal success, that's fine. Be transparent, honest with that. But I'm just saying, anytime you have the ability to do music, you can really use it for greater good. No different than a politician who has all this power can use it for greater good, or they can use it for greater evil. And that's what we've seen, over the past 4 years as well, with the divide that we have in America right now. Is you can use it for really good, you can use it for really evil. So you got to choose. You really got to choose, or it's going to be a dilemma.
Mhm.
One thing that I always had on my mind for a long while. I've had conversations with a lot of people who I'm friends with who are also artists. Like, also, there's a rapper who basically mentored me and taught me how to rap. He goes by the name King Osiris. One time, me and him were in a VC, like, alone having a conversation about music, and he asked me, like, a similar question, like, who are you? Why do you want to do music? Like, we'd known each other
Yeah.
for a long while at this point, but he was talking more my identity as an artist rather than who I am as a person. Who are you and why are you doing music? Why do you want to do this, this, and that? And I think that's a really interesting, like, question to ask a lot of artists and thinking about what they want to do,
Man, trust me, you don't know how many artists, when I bring that up to them, what's your purpose for doing music? Their eyes just get big because they never ask themselves that. They just do music because they have a talent or they like it or they want to try it. But anything you get yourself into, you got to know why you're doing it. What is the end game and the goal? You know what I mean? With anything in life, what is the goal? So,
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of times, like, people do things without having like an end goal in mind, and that always confused me because almost everything I do has is like a means to an end, if that's the right phrase. But a lot of
yeah,
things,
and you
a lot of
again,
things are
you
just
got your mind right with it.
yeah, just a lot of the music I make has like different purpose. I want to make I want to make this song because I want to do this with that, and I want to make this song for this purpose. Just I want to make this song for that person, this song for those types of people. Just I love diversity in music as well. Even though like I've only been making music for 3 years, I'd like to think I can pull off a very like wide variety, like different variety of styles. I can I always like to describe it like this. I can rap over any type of beat very well.
Okay, dope,
Like
dope, man.
just throw on a rock beat, throw on a 6ix9ine beat, throw on like throw on fucking Kendrick, throw on whatever, just throw on EDM, whatever.
Versatile.
Very versatile. I'd like to think of myself as versatile, and yeah, I think
Mhm.
we're getting to the point where we should start the performance part of the podcast. Is there any song that you'd like to perform? Whether you think it give a good idea of who you are, or whether it's your any song you'd like to perform, or any verse you'd want to perform.
I think I'm gonna just do kind of
Okay.
Cool.
Start whenever
all
you
right, dope.
feel ready. And
Check it. Yo, I need a moment to unload if you fitty. Hoping that it changed, but I'm feeling like an enemy. Feeling like it's prison. Up here on the same stat. Now we on the jail and we feel like we off. The map on a land that was lives in a flash. We know what it feels to be last. It's whiplash. We've been past a good laugh. It's time for us to move fast. Thinking that I've been brash. Check it. You only hurt the first half. It's your man word.
hey, yo, that was nice, man.
That was amazing.
I like that. Like that a lot, man.
Thank you, thank you. Gotta spit and also put that message in there. You know what I mean? Put that real knowledge in the verses.
One more thing I'd like to one more thing I wish I'd gotten to before one more thing I wish I'd gotten to before the performance segment. I wanted to say a lot of the music I base my style off of is like Earl Sweatshirt, Mike, Mavi, that type of shit. I think I'd like to say I have a very natural knack for storytelling, no matter if it was in film form, whether it was in writing books, whether it was in drawing. I've always been a natural like storyteller. I love telling stories.
Good,
I
man. I'm
mean,
glad you got that bass. It's
yeah,
important to have that bass, man, as a whether you're an MC, whether you're a songwriter, singer, any of that. Storytelling is always the key.
yeah. So, is there anything you'd like to shout out, like your social medias, any project, any song, any homies that you want to shout out, anything that you want to shout out? I think right now would be the best time to do so.
All right, definitely, definitely. You can check me out. My official website is wordsmithmusic.com. You can check out my label website is nurevcamp.com. That's NUREV camp.com. And I encourage you to go to that website because I have 6 other artists signed to my label, and they're not just American based artists. I got a real dope MC on my label called Marwan. He's from Tunisia. I got a real dope punk rock band called Cardinal Birds from Ukraine on my label. I got a real dope singer songwriter from Haiti named Stevie J that's on my label. And this other cat I'm really proud about, man. I have the first death row inmate on my label who's fully rehabilitated. He's been on death row since 1993. And his name is Rome Malone. And we're going to be releasing some music from him. His first single on June 4th. And I also have, he's my drummer. He plays my live shows with me. He's also a great producer. We've done a lot of TV work together. His name is Chris C. Creates, very dope producer. And I have a female singer and songwriter named Nikki Taylor Vibe on my label as well. So even more than checking me out at Wordsmith Music, go to newrevcamp.com and check out some of my other artists, a real eclectic group, really great independent artists that are real young and going to be on the rise. As far as social media, just look up Wordsmith on Instagram. It's Wordsmith Music. I definitely hit everybody back. So I love comments. I love those who reach out. So please feel free to hit me. And other than that, keep checking out my music. Check out my new record, Progressions, that dropped on May 21st, my first jazz project.
Oh yeah, nice. So I'm glad we had you on. I'm glad we could have this conversation. Really enjoyed this conversation. Always enjoy interviewing like artists that have been in the game for a long time, who have a lot of experience. But yeah, I'd like to say to the audience, hope you enjoyed listening. You know who I am. I'm Jack. And Ecstasy, would you like to say anything to the audience before we stop recording?
Ecstasy's not here, bro.
Sorry, musically. Ecstasy is another co-host on the show. Sorry, musically.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. But nothing really else with me. Just another thank you, Wordsmith. This has been such a pleasure to meet you and to do this. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. I had definitely a great time on the show. Thank you for the great questions. Also for the great insight, especially with you, Jack. Thanks for your insight, especially being a young cat, man. You give me hope. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So to the audience out there, have an amazing day. Hope you enjoyed listening, and goodbye.
Y'all have a good one. Bye, everybody.